Hi everyone, I'm Sandy, and today I'm back with my 1001 book countdown. Okay, so it has been a great week, a great reading week, a great week in the BookTube community. I have just been having so much fun. I've been in the pastoral readathon, which has been wonderful, as well as participating in the Reading Euro Challenge with Book Time with Elvis. And that group of people has just been so incredibly fun. And we are commiserating when our team loses and making book suggestions or getting book suggestions. And it has just been an absolute blast. I also joined Discord just today and got to participate in my first chats on that. And that was really fun. So yeah, it's been a good week. But for 1001 book countdown, it's also been a good week because I finally read books off of my 2021 list, finally this week. And so what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and put up our numbers, which are 990 and 30, which is of course the 2021 number. And we're just going to jump right in and start with the first book, which is Martin Eden by Jack London. I'm trying to make it so the numbers, because I know they're over here somewhere. Anyway, Martin Eden by Jack London. I had only read one Jack London novel, which is A Call to the Wild, which is about the story of basically told from a perspective of a dog, which I love. And I was not expecting Martin Eden for what it was. It is really interesting. It follows the character whose name is Martin Eden, and he is described as a rough character with dirt under his fingernails and wearing baggy clothes and speaking in a way that is not correct or proper. He uses ain't and can't understand things and doesn't necessarily understand what he's saying he's not understanding what he should be saying. And he gets invited over to a household where, as a thank you for saving someone whose character name always escapes me, it's the brother's name, and I can never remember his name. And that is where he meets Ruth. So Ruth is a proper lady, and Martin Eden falls in love with her right from the moment that he sees her. He thinks that she is everything and wants to do everything he possibly can to be able to convince her that he is worthy. And so one of the things in here is he broke off lamely. He was confused, painfully conscious of his inarticulateness. He had felt the bigness and glow of life in what he had read, but his speech was inadequate. He could not express what he felt, and to himself, he likened himself to a sailor in a strange ship on a dark night, groping about in the unfamiliar running rigging. Well, he decided it was up to him to get acquainted in this new world. He had never seen anything that he couldn't get the hang of when he wanted to, and it was about time for him to want to learn to talk the things that were inside of him so that she could understand. She was bulking large on his horizon. So that is an absolutely apt description of what happens in at least the beginning of Martin Eden. He really wants to impress Ruth. He wants to be able to speak like she does and talk about poetry and talk about books, and does everything he can in the beginning to try and make it so he is learning. He's going to the library. He's doing a lot of self-learning. He applies to go to a high school and is denied. But he really is just picking things up everywhere, trying to learn. And while this has a bit of a love story between him and Ruth, which was the part I wasn't expecting, it also was really a love story between him and education and learning, which was truly, truly fascinating. I read this book over 2 days. I could not put it down. I was so intrigued by Martin Eden and his character and his character development. He has some real challenges in this book as far as his, getting set back, getting pushed back, not able to move as forward as fast as he wants to. He also decides that he wants to become a writer and spends a long amount of time struggling to do just that. And so the part that fell down for me a little bit was there's a section in the book where the Jack London has to create some conflict between him and between Martin Eden and Ruth. And the way it was done was through a political conversation, which was what I did not like. The whole book did not have anything like that really in it. And then this one section starts talking about this political component, which I did not like as much. And then I went out and looked about Jack London and have found that Jack London, unfortunately, has a very problematic history with a lot of racist statements and just some things that I didn't know about Jack London. It's one of the things that if you want to investigate an author before you read him, this is definitely one that I would recommend you do that with to see if it's something that you want to read. There is not racism in the book. It was more of a socialism commentary, but still, it didn't fit for me with the rest of the book. No spoilers, but oh my God, I hated how this ended. I was so mad at Martin Eden. I mean, why? Why, Martin Eden? Why? I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but I was mad at Martin Eden. Very rememberable ending, but I was very mad at him. I was just unbelievably upset with the character and why. That's my main thought with the ending. If you've seen Rick McDonald's video of In and Out, where he talks about that, he had a thing in there about reading the last page of a book and whether that was in or out. This book, I would recommend out. If you read that with this book, it would have spoiled the whole book for me. So just know that. But it is actually really well done. I did like the character of Martin Eden a lot. I liked him better at the beginning than I did at the end. And it does raise the question is like, at the end of this, was he better for learning and changing his perspective? You'll have to let me know what you think. So, but Martin Eden, I gave it actually 4 stars. 4 only because of that commentary in there that I just didn't think fit with the rest of the story. But with that, we get to go to 989 and 29. I can never remember these numbers, but I think I got that one right. We'll see. 989 and 29. I cannot believe I'm already in the 80 numbers. It's amazing how much progress I'm already making. So, but, and it is also on, since it is on my 2021 list, that's why I get to go to 29. So yay. Next book is actually the Book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa. And so if you watch my channel, you know, I've talked about this one a couple of times as being one that I've had to let romance me a little bit and take my time with. I actually started this book at the end of May, and I just finished it yesterday, which was June 17th. And it is one of those books I couldn't read more than kind of 50 pages at a time, and largely because of just the type of writing that it had. This is not a negative commentary on the type of writing, by the way. It just is a lot to take in. I always think of this book, one, it's written kind of in the version of journal entries, kind of. So it's a lot of just randomness in here. And there's no real character to follow, no story to follow, not really a beginning, middle, and end in this book. It's just a lot of random thoughts. It makes me think of like Pessoa putting his head to the side and just letting everything fall out. That is pretty much this book. There is one quote in here where the author actually says it better than I can. I know, shock that Pessoa could say something better. But it says, just as some people work because they're bored, I sometimes write because I have nothing to say. Daydreaming, which occurs naturally to people when they're not thinking, in me takes written form, for I know how to dream in prose. And if that doesn't describe it in the best way, dreaming in prose. And that is very much what this feels like. And it doesn't matter where you really go in the book, it all feels that way. So one of my favorite sections, I have 2 sections to the kind of quote. One is called Rainy Landscape. It says, each drop of rain is my failed life weeping in nature. There's something of my disquiet in the endless drizzle, then shower, then drizzle, then shower, through which the day's sorrow uselessly pours itself out over the earth. It rains and keeps raining. My soul is damp from hearing it. So much rain. My flesh is watery around my physical sensation of it. My anguish cold holds my poor heart in its icy hands. The gray hours get longer, flattening out in time. The moments drag, so much rain. That is what this whole book is like. So if you like that and you like that section, you're probably going to really like this book. If you listen to that and went, man, that's not for me, you're not going to like this book, because the whole thing is absolutely like that. It doesn't matter where I went. You can see I have a lot of tabs on this because there were a lot of moments that struck me as really impactful kind of statements. One of my favorite ones, or one I found, and it's very early, it's only section and item, it's labeled as 20. I don't know why they're labeled that like that, one and up. But it says, whenever I've tried to free my life from a set of circumstances that continually oppress it, I've been instantly surrounded by other circumstances of the same order, as if the inscrutable web of creation were irrevocably at odds with me. I yank from my neck a hand that was choking me, and I see that my own hand is tied to a noose that fell around my neck when I freed it from the stranger's hand. When I gingerly remove the noose, it's my own hands that I nearly strangle myself. Yeah, just really, really interesting. Where the book fell down for me, there's a section at the back that's called a Disquiet Anthology, and it talks about in here, if I can find the right page, advice to unhappily married women. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't read through the last of that Disquiet Anthology, Disquiet Anthology. So for that section, I just, wasn't really for me. And then the other thing is the length, about 325 or so pages. I was pretty much over the book and was ready for it to be done. And even at the notes on the text and translation, there's a comment in here that said, had Pessoa prepared the Book of Disquiet for publication, it would have been a smaller book. He planned to make rigorous selection from among all the texts he had written, to adapt the older ones to the true psychology, and to undertake an overall revision of the style. And so I doubt that what I would have taken out would have been nearly as much as maybe Pessoa would have taken out, but it was a bit long, and it did go on and on and on for a while. And I found myself towards the end not marking up quite as much, not because it wasn't as good, but because I think I was tired of reading this type of prose. So, but if you like those few passages, like I said, you'll probably love this book. I ended up giving it about 3.5 stars, largely influenced because towards the end, I definitely was tired of reading it, which is unfortunate because I really did like it for the most part. And I don't know if that's, again, because I had to read it. I wanted to finish it to get it in the video today. And if I would have taken a little bit more time, would I have felt the same? Maybe not, but it's not one that you're going to breeze through. It's a really, really interesting book, but it takes some time, without a doubt. But with that, we are at 988 and 28, which is amazing to me because I started this only about a month and a half ago, and I've read 13 books off of this list, which is an incredible amount of progress. And at this rate, I should be done in about 9 years. Yay! But I don't know yet if I'm going to do 1,001 book countdown every week. It really depends on how much I read, and see how it kind of goes as far as how often I do the updates. I am enjoying reading from this list quite a bit, so hopefully everyone is enjoying the books that I'm getting out of this. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of these 2 books if you pick them up. And with that, until next time, everyone, hope you're having a good week. Thanks. Bye.